Since half of 2024 is over now, I'd like to rank the 5 best movies of the first half. But before I do that, I have to mention I did miss a couple of big movies in the first half of the year. I'll list them here just so you know why 1 or 2 movies might be missing on this list.
Are you in or are you in?
Orion and the Dark is my only Netflix original on this list because all of the other ones were pretty weak. So let's start with the positives. I liked the concept of this movie. It's kind of like Inside Out with different elements of the night as characters. I mean, we have sleep, dream, undefined noises. There are some cool characters here. The dynamic that Orion had with Dark was also very entertaining, even though it's definitely nothing new you haven't seen before. The animation style was pretty great as well, with some beautiful shots, which I really liked. But the story does kind of get tangled up at the end with an ending that was just too over the top for me. So I'm going to give this one a 3.5 out of 5.
Apes will learn. I will learn.
Whilst definitely being not as good as Dawn or War for the Planet of the Apes, I did really like this movie. The thing I like the most about this movie is that just the visual effects are so great. The apes are so well animated to a point that they could just be practical effects. They also really take their time to show the world, so the world building in here is great as well. The orangutan Rocca was a cool mentor for Noah and had some funny jokes, which I laughed at. But there are some problems, especially in the third act, because there it kind of falls apart with tons of plot holes and also some plot convenience in it. And the human character called May, whilst being kind and interesting in the first half, she does mutate to a plot device in the last act. Noah, the main character, was fine enough for me, but definitely could have used some kind of trait that would have made him stick out more as a character, because he's pretty much a blueprint hero. For me, a 3.5 out of 5. Oh, by the way, please subscribe if you liked this video, because I'm trying to reach 100 subs by the end of 2024. Anyways, back to the video.
What's an ice cream?
Are you saying ice cream or ice cream?
Ice cream.
Okay, it's just with your accent, it's hard. I'm not reporting an ice cream.
Yes, no, I get that.
Okay.
I really like the Fall Guy because the amount of practical stunts you get in this movie was really cool, and I really could appreciate it because practical stunts have just become so rare nowadays in the normal blockbuster movie, and they still just look far better if done practical. Ryan Gosling also just completely carries this movie for me. He's so charismatic in this movie, and his dynamic with Emily Blunt also kept me entertained very well. Also, the fight sequences were well choreographed and full of humor, which I liked. There were also some creative scenes in this movie, like there's one scene where Ryan Gosling takes drugs on accident and then has to fight some bad guys, and that whole sequence is very funny and full of cool and creative ideas. The CGI in this movie was fine, but definitely miles behind something like Dune, for instance, which leads me to my negatives. While most of these stunts do look real, there are some where I thought that was made in front of a green screen, but then saw in the credits that they did it for real, but just added some CG effects to it, which kind of annoyed me, because if they would have left that out, it would have looked real instead of just looking like it was filmed in front of a green screen. The thriller plot was also quite stupid, and just generally the plot was nothing new you haven't seen before 1,000 times. Also, Aaron Taylor-Johnson was kind of over the top for me in this movie. So for me, it's a 3.5 out of 5, just scraping at a 4 out of 5, but not enough.
Bring me your leaders and throw them down. You will rule with me in the splendor of a new wasteland.
The action that George Miller produces in this movie is just breathtaking once again. Also, each performance in this movie was great. I mean, Chris Hemsworth as Dementus was very entertaining. Anya Taylor-Joy as Furiosa was good as well. Also, Lila Brown, who plays Child Furiosa, was really good. What she can do just with her eyes, it's amazing, and I hope we see more of her in the near future. What I really liked about this movie is that they added depth to the Mad Max world, because in Fury Road they did mention a lot of stuff which I wanted to see more, and in this movie you basically get that. The sound design in this movie was absolutely great and did surprise me very positively. But it's not all perfect, because I do have some negatives. There were a lot more scenes which were obviously filmed in front of a green screen, which was kind of annoying. My biggest problem with this movie is definitely that it's just far too long. I mean, the whole ending had a dialogue in it that just didn't want to end. Anyways, I had a blast with this movie, so a 4 out of 5 for me.
May thy knife chip and shatter.
I mean, just the visuals alone in this movie are so breathtaking that it was basically destined to become a part of my top 5 in this half year. I think I've never seen better CGI in a movie before, besides maybe in Avatar 2. Also, the sound design was so great. And I mean, I think we can all agree that this movie was at least a masterpiece on a technical level. I mean, the intro sequence alone looked so real and was so intense, and that's not even the best part of this movie. Also, Fade Rother as basically Paul Atreides in Bad was great, and Austin Butler gave a very good performance. The whole hand-to-hand combat, or just the action in general, was great and very well choreographed. Paul and especially Chani's journey in this movie was very well done, and Denis Villeneuve really added a cool twist to the question who the main protagonist in this movie is. Because somewhere in the middle of this movie, it switches, and out of a good reason. The only two small things I wasn't really a fan of were that there are a bit too many characters, so that some interesting ones just kind of got neglected, like the Emperor, which I thought would have been the main bad guy, or Princess Irulan, who is quite important in the book. At a certain point, you kind of lose the emotional connection with Paul Atreides, so you're not really emotionally attached anymore to him for the rest of the movie, which I thought kind of sucked, but there is a good reason for that, and you kind of get a different character to be emotionally attached to, so it wasn't a huge problem for me. Overall, this movie is a 4.5 out of 5 for me. Almost a masterpiece. Click here to check out why Furiosa, a Mad Max saga, looks so fake. Okay, that's been it. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and bye!